All right, let's talk about a huge but often overlooked part of any commercial space, the surfaces. If you're managing facilities, a brand, or designing interiors, you know that your walls and fixtures can either make or break the entire experience. But with all the new tech out there, how do you know you're making the right call? Well, today we're going to give you the expert guide you need to upgrade your interiors with total confidence. Let's dive in. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll lay out the challenge we're all facing today. Then, I'll give you a professional framework for how to evaluate your options. We'll put two major technologies head to head, really dig into the advantages of a newer approach, and then wrap it all up by showing you how to make the smartest choice for your specific project. First up, let's really define the problem. Look, in today's world, our spaces see a ton of traffic and have to represent a brand perfectly. Just slapping on a fresh coat of paint, that's not going to cut it anymore. Modern facilities need solutions that can really perform under pressure, scale across all your locations, and, importantly, don't shut down your operations for weeks on end. So you really have to ask yourself this question. Are your walls, your counters, all your fixtures, are they actually working against you? For a lot of people, the honest answer is yes. The old traditional methods just can't keep up with what we need them to do today. I'm sure this all sounds painfully familiar. You see that peeling vinyl at the seams, graphics that start to fade or fail the second you try to clean them, and of course, installations that take forever and disrupt everything. It leads to inconsistent branding and just a ton of waste from having to replace things over and over. That's the exact problem we're here to solve. Okay, so how do we move on from those old frustrations? Simple. We adopt a new standard for how we evaluate these things. This isn't just about what looks good the day it's installed. This is about making a strategic decision based on performance, cost, and the entire life cycle of the product. Think of this as the expert's checklist. Any modern solution you're considering has to deliver on these 6 pillars. Of course, it's got to be durable, quick to install, and work on the surfaces you actually have. But honestly, the real game changers, what separates the good from the great, are those last 2 points, life cycle and sustainability. How easy is it to update down the road, and how much waste are you creating? Answering those questions is how you find real long-term value. All right, now let's get down to brass tacks. We are putting 2 of the leading technologies in the ring. On one side, we have direct-to-wall printing, a really modern digital approach. And on the other, we have architectural films, like the famous 3M DINOC, which is a more traditional, vinyl-based solution. Let's break this down. Architectural films, no doubt, are fantastic at mimicking materials like wood or metal on smooth surfaces. They give you that high-end look for less. But, and this is a big but, when you're talking about huge, seamless brand graphics, especially on textured surfaces like brick or concrete block, direct-to-wall printing is the undisputed winner. And I want you to really pay attention to that last row, life cycle. This is where hidden costs live. One is a simple paint-over job for updates, the other can mean scraping, sanding, and costly repairs. So here's the Achilles heel of films, the edges. By their very nature, adhesive films have seams, and those seams have edges. In any high-traffic area, that's where they're going to fail first. Direct printing, on the other hand, puts the image right onto the wall itself. It completely sidesteps this problem because, well, there are no edges to peel or bubble in the first place. Okay, so let's build on that. We're going to dig a little deeper into the specific wins you get with the direct-to-wall approach. We'll focus on 3 huge areas: speed, long-term durability, and the incredible creative freedom it gives you. Just look at this number. Less than 5 hours. That's the typical on-site time to print an entire full-height wall graphic. Now, if you're running a busy place like a hospital or university, that is an absolute game changer. It means a huge brand update can literally happen overnight, with almost zero disruption to your daily operations. And here is a term every facility manager needs to tattoo on their brain: paint over ready. What this means is when it's time for a rebrand or just a refresh, you don't have to spend days scraping off old gummy vinyl and then repairing the drywall underneath. Nope. You just prime and paint right over the existing graphic. This just crushes the cost and headache of future updates. And the versatility here is just fantastic. We're not just talking about big, flat walls. Think about printing a super durable, high-res graphic right onto the front of a reception desk, or around an elevator, or even on the ends of library stacks and lockers. It's a way to bake your branding and your messaging right into the architecture of the space itself. So we've covered a ton of ground. With all this info, how do you actually make the right call for your project? In this last section, we're going to shift from the tech itself to the strategy behind it, giving you a really practical guide for how to use these solutions. Now here's a real pro tip. The smartest play isn't always choosing one technology and ditching the other. It's often about creating a hybrid solution. Let architectural film do what it does best. Use it on furniture and casework to get those amazing realistic textures. Then you bring in direct-to-wall printing for your huge, high-impact brand walls. That's how you get the best of both worlds. Let's make this super concrete with some examples. In a hospital, you'd want a seamless, super cleanable wayfinding graphic printed right on the wall. Perfect. At a university, you could print a breathtaking mural directly onto a tough-as-nails concrete block wall. For a big corporate lobby or a national retail chain, printing on site means every single one of your locations is perfectly, and I mean perfectly, on brand. It's all about matching the right tool to the right job. So if you walk away with just one thing today, please let it be this. The absolute smartest choice always comes from analyzing your specific needs. What's the wall made of? How much foot traffic is it going to get? And what's the visual goal? You answer those 3 questions, and you will find the solution that gives you the best possible value over the long haul. And that really brings us to the big final idea here. We're moving way beyond just refinishing surfaces. With these kinds of technologies, we can now effectively reprogram our spaces whenever we want, changing their function, their mood, their entire message. So the real question is, are you ready to embrace that future? I hope this guide helps you make your next project a massive success. Thanks for tuning in.